Drama with the Daily Wire and Brett Cooper seems to be a subject of continuing interest, and there have been a couple of recent events that I thought I'd comment on and throw in what I think is going on here. Recently, Brett Cooper announced that she's going to be doing an event at a restaurant club in New York to announce upcoming things that she's working on bringing out soon. And then this video by Jeremy Boring popped up that seems to be a response trying to get ahead of whatever it is that Brett Cooper is doing. And I really don't understand what he's doing here. It apparently was originally posted behind a paywall on the Daily Wire, but it has since been released into the wild, and you can find it in a lot of different places now. And in it, Jeremy is complaining about the unfairness of it all. It's a very odd video. I don't know what the point of it is. Let me just play a little bit of it here for you.
All day, 2 episodes a day, and has been Brett's best friend. And so, some of the accusations against Reagan have been really ugly, like that she's impersonating Brett. Well, that's unfair. If Reagan seems a bit like Brett, it's because she's Brett's best friend and one of the writers and the producer of the show. She's worked as much on the show every day on what the show would look like and feel like and sound like as Brett has for these last 2 years. They've done that.
And that is kind of odd. He seems to be started out saying that Reagan is not impersonating Brett Cooper, and then he goes on to say they basically are the same person. They've done the same thing. So it's like, what are you trying to say here? She's not impersonating Brett Cooper. She is Brett Cooper. She's the equivalent of Brett Cooper. It's a very odd thing to do. The word feckless came to mind when I watched this little video of Jeremy trying to explain things, and I thought, you got an effect there, laddie. That's just not going to work for you. And he goes on in this video to talk about how he didn't provide acting lessons to Reagan, but he did offer coaching to Brett when she was doing the acting things for Daily Wire, like Pendragon Cycle, and preparing for the Snow White role. And he both says that it is a good thing to get coaching, but he didn't give Reagan any acting lessons. So he seems to be doing some sort of splitting terms there. He didn't have Reagan do any acting lessons, but maybe there was some coaching. He talks about the coaching being a good thing. So don't know where he's supposed to be going with that. And later in the video, he talks about how the Daily Wire is not in trouble. Let me see if that
will not fail. We continue to grow and we continue to succeed. And business is hard, and we'll go through it. You're always going to go through a little bit of a downturn in audience after a very popular host leaves a show. But Brett will go on and build her next thing, and she'll do just fine and continue to be very successful. And Reagan will continue to find her footing with.
So what seems to be going on here is he's pretty surprised at how badly this turned out for the Daily Wire. He thought that he would be rid of this troublesome host and replace her with what he thought was an identical replica of the troublesome host, and life would go on. But it's turned into a huge problem for the Daily Wire. Their reputation has been damaged by this, and their judgment has been damaged. And this video itself seems to be further evidence to me that they're exhibiting pretty poor judgment in how they're dealing with this. What I really think is going on is they were demanding things of Brett Cooper that she just flatly refused. I can't do that. I won't do that. And they made her have the choice. You will either do as we instruct you, or you can take off. And so now, because she said, okay, I will go if, if that's the choice. So they're saying, well, she went voluntarily. There was, we didn't force her. But it's very obvious that there's bad feelings there. There was not a real free choice on her part. In fact, at her TPUSA speech, she talks about how she felt very, very betrayed, and she draws parallels between what happened at the Daily Wire with what happened to her when she was in college, when her sorority denounced her for being politically incorrect. She describes a scene in one of her interviews where there was a sorority event where one of the sorority women climbed up on a table and pointed her out as the fascist among them. And she was drawing parallels between those sort of events and what happened at the Daily Wire. She unfollowed Reagan. She unfollowed the Daily Wire. She continued to follow some of the people who were performers for the Daily Wire, but she explicitly unfollowed Reagan and the Daily Wire itself. And so it's very disingenuous. In this video, Jeremy is describing Brett as Reagan's best friend, but that does not seem to be the case. There seems to be a very big sense of betrayal there. In fact, Brett, in her TPUSA speech, talked about dealing with betrayal and finding out that people you were counting on do not have your back. So we're still waiting to hear what really happened here. I'm pretty sure that there's non-disparagement language and confidentiality language in Brett's contract, and she's been absolutely silent. I think in part because she's contractually bound not to say anything, and she doesn't have to. Just doing this has caused a huge problem for the Daily Wire, and Brett Cooper doesn't have to say anything. Her fans are outraged by what has happened to her and how the Daily Wire has dealt with this. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I don't know if she's going to be doing this event in New York online. There will be like a podcast going along with it. I hope so. It'd be interesting to see what she's doing there. But I am going to be following this story as it goes on, and I really don't have a lot of sympathy with these people at the Daily Wire. They seem to have they've tried to screw over a 22-year-old young woman that they thought was an easy target, and it turned out she was not, and it turned out to be a very, very bad miscalculation on their part. But we'll just keep following this, see how it turns out, see what happens next, and I'll catch you all next time.